I'm at the end with my overbearing helicopter parents. My Asian parents have always been the overbearing and controlling type. To provide a little context, I'm the youngest of 3 siblings and the only daughter. My older brothers are only a year apart, while I'm a respective 5 and 4 years younger than they are. My parents have a more conservative background due to their cultural background, as well as their being Christians. They're also first-generation immigrants, so they both share a certain hardened, and no exception viewpoint of life. In other words, they are very black and white about everything. They also are the type to firmly believe that I should agree with everything they think. An example of their conservative background is that, while I have 2 other siblings, I'm the only one who is enforced with arbitrary rules about keeping my door open when my boyfriend is over, coming home if I go out by 11 p.m, not sitting more than halfway up my bed. If we are watching TV in my room, I have no sofas. Maybe these wouldn't be considered extreme rules if I were still young, like maybe in middle school or early high school, but I'm now 25 years old. Furthermore, I'm often suspicious that these rules are used more as a constant reminder of my parents' control over me and my life. My parents are not the type to be intentionally and knowingly manipulative, but they are the type to guilt trip you and make you feel bad for not blindly obeying them or agreeing with them. I believe they can morally justify that to themselves because my parents have a steadfast perception of the clear parent/child role in the Korean cultural context. Kids are always wrong and should just always do what their parents say. Recently, before the lockdown officially started, my dad graciously told me to invite my boyfriend to ride out the quarantine in our guest house since he lives with a sketchy Irish roommate and lives in not the best kind of neighborhood. But the entire time he's been here, they have been using his presence here and are hanging out as a cop-out and have been nagging me and criticizing me about everything. They have their own issues with me that they never address directly to my face, but instead have been passively aggressively micromanaging everything I do and saying it's because I hang out with my boyfriend too much and I'm not productive enough. I don't have a real relationship with either of my parents, it's superficial at best. But somehow my dad foolishly thinks I have become distant from my family only recently because of my boyfriend's being here. My 11 p.m. curfew is still enforced if we are watching a movie in my room and it hasn't finished yet. My parents will text me from their room to tell me to tell my boyfriend to go back to the guest house. We always respect their rules, but I have reached a breaking point. I have lived with them until this point because after I lived on my own for a year after graduating from college, I decided to move back home and work at my parents' company because it was what they had always wanted. It didn't last long because I hated it, which I always knew I would, and realized I wasn't working in an industry I had any interest in, so I decided to pursue graduate school. I'm waiting for school to start, and my BF and I have already planned to pay for it on our own, through financial aid and loans, but with how stuff is going right now, there's a lot of tension, and I feel the need to get out more than ever. Does anybody have any suggestions on how to handle a situation like this? My mom is weird. So my mom wants me to continue living with her while I attend college, or to call her 3 times a day every single day while in college. I once told her that I was thinking about migrating to another country when I'm older, and she asked me which country I want to go to so she can move there too. She won't allow me to go over to a friend's house at all. Once I went there with the help of my dad, I felt happy, but she got mad at me when I didn't answer her call and wouldn't listen to me when I told her that there was bad reception at the friend's house. She once made my dad and sister follow me on a freaking date with one of my boyfriends. I'm not even allowed to close a door to my room and have resorted to going into my closet just for a sense of being alone. She doesn't even trust me being home alone and thinks I'll automatically open the door to strangers, and she even doesn't trust me to cook because I'll hurt myself if she does that. It doesn't help that whenever I go to college I want to stop all communication with her. She doesn't even consider me going to therapy to vent about whatever under the reasons that I should tell her everything about how I feel. My mom literally went through my poop to check if I ate junk food. I'm currently 19. Throughout my life I've always been closely monitored by my parents. Side note, my parents are emotionally and physically abusive. They've called me names and beaten me to the point where my tailbone got bent inwards and had to have it adjusted. There's a period of time where my phone's email is linked to my dad and he can see every picture I take, save, and screenshot. I would get into trouble for taking a selfie or screenshotting a meme I saw. At some point between middle school and high school, they set up cameras everywhere in the house, even my room, to monitor what we are doing. Both my parents would walk very quietly and open my bedroom door very quickly to see what I'm doing as well. And my little sister has told me that they would go through my closet, trash can, and desk drawers when I'm not home or I just went out to walk the dog. I have 2 GPS apps on my phone and a location tracking device in my car, and whenever I exit an area, it sends notifications and histories to my dad. All of this, they still want me to call and tell them where I'm going every time I simply go out of my dorm room. Just last quarter I got yelled at for an hour over the phone because apparently my location shows that I'm in a restaurant next to my college lecture hall and my mom assumed that I ditched class and that I'm eating junk food. In terms of junk food, my mom would buy ice cream and offer me some, but it's all a test. If I accept the offer, she'll start yelling at me for having no self-control over sweets. And that's another example to show how psychotic she is. And a week ago, I was shitting, and right before I was going to flush it, my mom barged in and told me to not flush my shit. She had a twig in her hand and just started stirring around my shit in the bowl and found a pumpkin seed. Immediately she started screaming at me saying how I'm not following her diet and that I've been eating granola bars at college with friends. She went on to say how I don't love my parents and only trust friends, and guilt tripping me by saying that she wants the bet for me and I'm not accepting it. A little backstory is that for my entire high school career, my parents have been degrading my body and starving me, fasting, to make me lose weight. They're still enforcing this diet on me right now. Oh, be honest, I'm really going insane. I negotiated with them, I reasoned with them, and tried to tell them that what they're doing to straight up mental and crazy. Everything the internet or friends could possibly suggest, I've tried all of them. Yes, including call the social workers when I was in middle school, but hey, there's no bruises, and I'm being fed, so it's not abuse. I thought that if I turn 18 or at least get into college they would tone down all of the bullshit, but no. A week ago my mom crossed the line and went through my literal shit. I really don't know what to do. And since that we are having a pandemic right now, I'm really just rotting away in this hellhole. It hasn't even been a month since I got back from college, and I'm already losing my shit. I have paranoia thanks to my parents. My parents have been helicopter parents for as long as I can remember. I've always had a bedtime in which I would have to give them all my electronics, but to be fair, that's okay because it kept me from staying up all night. But you see, I kept diaries and such throughout the years, and if I left them out they would go through them, so the one thing I had private to myself they would go through. Then, I got a phone. I talk to my friends for support about things and often vent to them because, well, my parents are physically abusive, and it can make me upset, so my friends help lots. But after I got a phone my parents started checking my messages, and saw some of the vents. So that didn't go so well. I have never been able to visit a boy's house, and I can only visit a friend's house if they know every little detail about their parents. If I'm calling someone they listen into the conversation, they listen to me on Spark's voice chat, they always look at my phone when I'm using it. They occasionally take my door off the hinges. I've never had a lock. I'm really in a spot where I can't get away with anything. They don't knock before barging in my room and it's to the point that I can sense their movements. I know which creak belongs to who or how far away they are with each light footstep. And when the footsteps get closer or the door handle turns I literally feel an emotion of pure panic, whether I'm doing something bad or not. I can't leave a window open anymore without feeling like someone is watching me, and I'm very cautious about what I say in front of my friends in case my parents hear me, even when they are not there. My friends wonder why I don't cuss at all, and I just feel like I'm going to get in trouble. Sometimes I feel like I'm being stalked when I'm in a relationship or even at other people's houses. For example, when my parents let me go to my friend A's house, which took a lot of persuading and arguing, for movie night my boyfriend was there, because it was supposed to be a double date. We got to watch the movie together, but I was so petrified to even let him put his arm around me, because I was scared A's parents would see and scold us. A's parents came up the stairs from time to time, and each time I would go from our cuddly position to darting to the other side of the couch as fast as possible, as soon as her parents entered the room. During this my boyfriend would tell me it's okay, they won't care, it's just cuddling after all, but I was just terrified of getting in trouble. Eventually, while I tried to dart he pulled me back in, and I calmed down to the point where I was okay in front of her parents. They weren't like mine. I noticed when I went to A's house her parents were so nice, but her dad in particular said he could tell something was wrong, and that I was overly nice and polite. He said he wanted to punch my dad every time he saw him. The fact that someone cared made me cry, and I actually ended up crying a little during movie night, but it's okay, because my boyfriend helped me. I just knew that if I cuddled in front of my parents I would get punished severely. It took effort, but one day I was actually able to kiss my boyfriend without feeling like I would get punished if I did. If I did anything wrong I got punished, usually with electronics taken away, in which my parents would go through them for a week, a month, or forever, but never a day. As I'm typing this, I'm paranoid my mom's going to walk in as she always does to pretend to put laundry down when in reality she's seeing what I'm doing. Love you too, mom. I need some advice. I'm a 21-year-old living with my mom and now my stepdad. They got married on the 20th last month, genuine yay for them, and I moved in with them about a week ago because she is selling the house. He has 2 kids he has been parenting for about 4 years now. Before then he wasn't really in their lives. He has 1 daughter and 1 non-binary kid who he refuses to gender correctly. My mom has myself and my little brother who I feel has been a good parent for the most part, just a little judgmental. I currently don't go to school or have a job. I was working on my license, which I really want now that I have had a taste for driving, but due to COVID the DMV is shut down. I want to move out, but have no money to my name, which is my fault. I'm a bad spender, so I want to get a job so I can get out of here. But I'm not going to lie, I'm worried it will be hard to find one, and if I do I'm afraid of catching COVID due to reports of outbreaks everywhere here in Washington. The parents reasonably want everyone to either be going to school or to have a job. The 3 other kids are in college. We are all 18 plus. So I get that I'm the odd duckling out, but they are being awfully inhospitable as I transition in here. My stepdad is very anal about how things are to be used or done. He refused to let me on the Wi-Fi, so I would stop using cell data until things met his standard of what he wanted his house to look like, because he likes to bring people over and show off his house. But when he was willing to give me the Wi-Fi he had to put the password in my phone himself because he still needs to be in control. Okay, fine. So after he did that later that night I went and took the password from my phone and put it on my computer so I could download a single player game overnight. Well, he remotely shut it off cause he didn't give me permission for my computer cause my room wasn't how he liked things. Fixed my room the next few days. He unlocked it. Okay, we are cool. Last night I offered to help my mom make dinner and they were in the kitchen deciding on what spaghetti sauce to use. My mom asked my stepdad if my little sister was allergic to something in it. His eyes got wide and he shook his head no. I interpreted it as yo, don't say anything, she has a temper and I don't want to deal with it, so I went and asked her if she was allergic because it's best to ask the person directly. She took it as her dad was trying to poison her and there was a big shouting match and she stormed off. He said, oh, it's on D, and I was like, no, it's not on, I don't want to fight you. I'm just happy I got some points with my sister because I have been feeling my brother has been way closer to them than I am. It felt good for her to trust me. Little did I know my stepdad thought I was picking a fight. So he shut the Wi-Fi off for both of us. Not really a big deal, since I didn't notice, because I had cell reception. After she calmed down we all had dinner and she apologized for yelling at him. This morning my mom came to me and told me he was still upset and thought I was wanting to fight with him because I told Des and also tried to get around his Wi-Fi block by moving the password. She also told me I need to get my ass in gear and get a job cause I'm the only one not contributing. Fair enough, I'll work on applying. She said he would teach her to shut off the phone network too if I wasn't doing what they wanted. Fine, you pay for it, so go for it. But then she said, if that doesn't work she will take my phone away or one of my monitors away. I strongly disagree with that because I bought them. They are my property. She said because it's under her roof she can. I disagreed because again it's my property. Cut off the internet or the cell service if you want, but you aren't touching my property. She also insists on me having my hair a certain way or keeps nagging me about wearing a bra at all times around the house, or my pajama shorts are not okay because none of it's ladylike. And finally, when I was driving with my mom the other day, she said she and her husband were worried because I spend a lot of time in my room, I was being a cam girl or whatever, and that none of that was going to happen in their house. I told her I wasn't, but even if I was, it's none of her business or saying whether I can or not. It's my body. And I told her that some cam girls make more in a day than she does in a week, so it wouldn't be a bad idea if I wanted to or was doing that. I told her I've sent plenty of nudes under her roof without her being any the wiser, and I could still do it without her knowledge, so why is she telling me how to treat my own body? My stepdad agrees with her, saying not under their roof, but we haven't sat down and had a discussion about that yet. I'm sure it will be wonderful. But yeah, I just needed to blow off some steam and ask you guys if I'm in the wrong here. Does the whole under my roof apply to my adult body and the things I own? And I know I'm at fault for not having a job or a license, but it's not without trying. So please give me your opinion, Reddit.